Hi, and welcome to the podcast channel, Podcast My Business, for podcastmybusiness.com.au and contentmadeeasy.com.au. And today we've got Tyrone Wheeler all the way from the UK. How are you, Tyrone?
I'm really good. How are you?
Awesome, awesome, awesome.
Good.
So Tyrone's got a couple of different types of businesses, a traditional one and also a coaching business. So lots of business insights and information from that.
Best lessons are the ones you learn hard yourself,
Mm.
and those are the ones that stick. That's the ones you live by, to be honest.
Yeah, now talking about things that you love, well, you've got another business, your passion project. So how about you tell us about that?
Yeah, my passion project. I like that saying. Yeah. My passion project is my coaching business, which I predominantly work with other men, predominantly dads, to become better dads. And the way I do that is I help them to unintentionally heal and rebuild their own relationship with their own dads.
Mm.
And that's a personal thing for me, because my relationship with my own dad, we got mum and dad separated when I was about 7 or 8 years old, and my mum moved to the opposite end of the country, and she set up a six with another person who was destined to become my stepdad, which
Mm.
we won't say much about. But in a nutshell, me and my biological dad, we were separated for what we getting on for 35, 40 years,
Mm.
and we reconnected. Must have been about 8 to 10 years ago. And why I've decided to help other men, other dads, heal that relationship is because, I realised in that 35-year gap that there was a lot of things, a lot of challenges that I experienced over that gap of not having a proper father figure in my life that were pretty detrimental to me. There was confidence issues, there was self-doubt issues, there was lots of different things going on, and there was just a gap. There was a void,
Mm.
and it wasn't until we reconnected, probably a decade ago now, that things started to fall into place. There was light bulb moments, and I can honestly say, it wasn't all lovey-dovey when we were both connected, because there was obviously things we had to speak about and connect with and revisit. But I can honestly say, sitting with my dad, I see him probably about once or twice a year now. We're still about 700 miles apart. I can honestly say, sitting with my dad, it was the first time I could actually be myself. I didn't have to pretend to be somebody else.
Mm.
He could see me for who I was, and I could see him for who he was, and that was a real probably life-changing moment for me. And that's why I want to give back to other men and other dads experiencing the same thing. Even though sometimes what I've found is other men, other dads they're not in my position where I can look back and connect the dots.
Mm.
Whereas over time, they can start to, hopefully replicate what I've actually experienced and felt.
Mm.
on that level.
Well, from the sound of your accent, you sound like a northerner.
A northerner, yeah. I was actually, well, obviously I'm in Scotland now, so I've got the
Yeah.
Scottish accent.
Yeah.
But as I said previously, my mum moved up here after she split up with my dad. So I was actually born down the south of England, so I had like a Cockney accent. All right, mate, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm a long way from home, and that's the reason why it's you said a passion project,
Yes.
but it's really close to my heart, and if I can, as I said, if I can help other dads, become better dads because of that, to heal their own relationship with their own dad, their own maybe it might not even be a biological dad. It might be like a positive father figure. It makes me complete.
Yeah, and it's interesting because you're Scotland and up north, they can be
Mm.
hard as nails up there. So for you, coming to that
Yeah,
realization and helping other dads who are hard as nails
yeah,
is especially challenging.
it is. You've hit the nail on the head. But you know, when I first started, it was I, sometimes I said to myself, am I doing the right thing? Is this really worth it? And over time, that kind of nagging voice in my head is kind of um, dispersed, and I feel that that there's obviously a challenge, but I like challenges, and I just feel that you know I'm doing the right thing. I'm doing what I'm being led by my heart and my soul
Mm.
to do it.
Mm. So, what would be some principles to improve your relationship with your son and vice versa?
Um, I think the biggest thing that I've realised, learnt, and pass on to other dads is to be connected to your emotions and your feelings,
Mm.
and don't keep them wrapped up. Don't keep them shoved down inside.
Mm.
Always be open to sharing. Always be open to speaking. And once we start to do that, once we start to be know our emotions, where they're coming from, what they mean, and sharing them, as I said, instead of keeping them wrapped up inside,
Mm.
things will start to change. And your children, whether they're sons or daughters, will start to see that,
Mm.
because our children are our biggest teachers.
Mm. Yeah, that's certainly true. And I mean, the old paradigm of like, I was born in the UK, we grew up here in Australia, and the old paradigm of especially fathers and sons back in the day, where it was children are seen and not heard, and you
Mm.
know, one day a week on a Sunday, and we might have a chat for an hour with everybody, and that's about it, and then disappear for the rest of the week.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I mean, you said it right there. I mean, back in the day, as you said, it's you very rarely spent time with your parents. You
Mm.
know, um, just wasn't anything to do, I suppose.
Mm.
Um, yeah, times have changed. Speaking about times being changing. We my our youngest now, she's 21, and I just I've got a couple of grandkids now, and they're 3 and 5.
Mm.
But I really, you know, with technology now and times moving on, it must be really difficult for the younger generation, to bring kids up in this kind of day and age as well. So, and that's how I feel. It's even more important to try and support them the best we can.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. All right. So just want to mention that it's Healing Son Dash Father Relationships is the name of the
Mm-hmm.
podcast. Is on where are the good places you find good podcasts, including where you find this podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Right.
Mostly on Apple and Spotify, and
Yeah.
it's all obviously distributed all amongst obviously all the smaller platforms, but that's the two
Yeah.
main ones. You know you've only got one life, and make the most of it, and follow your heart. And if that
Mm.
means going against the grain, if it means upsetting your family, if it means upsetting your friends, so be it.
Yep.
Follow what follow what you want to do, no matter what,
Mm. Mm.
because you've only got one life, one chance, and grab it with both hands.
Well, there you go. And that comes from a Scotsman, so they know. Like I say, traditionally hard, but there are soft Scotsmen as well, and they're becoming softer. Yeah, the generations have changed.
Yeah,
Having more
totally.
time with your father and son is really, really important. Okay, look, thank you very much for that, Tyrone, and take care.